All right, betrayed, disappointed, apathetic, anxious, discouraged. That is how 5 Trump voters describe their feelings about the country right now. Trump voters. They were part of a New York Times focus group with a dozen Trump voters, 6 Republicans, 6 independents, all of them unhappy with the president's second term. In fact, 9 out of 12 of them say they regret their vote, complaining the president has not kept his promises, like no new wars, tax breaks, lower prices.
I am a 3-time loser. I voted for him 3 times. I believed in his vision. Now, I mean, everything is going wrong.
Gee, if only there were 3 separate people in 3 different elections that warned everybody what the fuck Donald Trump meant for America. If only Hillary Clinton would have warned everybody in 2016. Oh, she did. If only Joe Biden would have warned everybody in 2020. Oh, he did. If only Kamala Harris would have warned everybody in 2024. Oh, she did. So how in the fuck did you vote for this dumb bitch 3 separate times and now you're surprised that everything is fucking failing? We told you guys, and I'm not going to get off of this. How in the fuck did y'all sit and listen to millions of people tell you everything that was going to fucking happen with empirical evidence? It's not like everybody was just pulling this shit out of their ass and calling shit gold nuggets. We literally had empirical evidence that showed with the cuts that Donald Trump enacted in his first term, with the policies that were in Project 2025, that even though he tried to distance himself from, he was in full support of. We told you that all of this shit was going to happen and everybody was going to fucking suffer. And now the Trump supporters, because it's affecting them, they're like, I can't believe this. I can't believe that Donald Trump conned me. He's a con man, dumbass.
Kansas farmers are publicly regretting voting for Donald Trump and wish they would have read Project 2025 now that Donald Trump's policies are directly affecting them, specifically the cuts to USAID funding, which would have been used to purchase farmers' goods. Listen to what the executive director of the Kansas Farmers Union had to say about it.
There are a lot of people who are very concerned out there who voted for this administration. But, you know, they wrote it all down in Project 2025. I guess we should have paid a little closer attention to what was in that.
Yeah, you probably should have. It's not as if people weren't warning you. It's not as if Kamala Harris went out every single day and warned Americans about Project 2025. But you believe the guy that can never tell the truth when he said, I know nothing about it. And now you're suffering. But the worst part is we're all suffering. There's hungry people around the world that are being affected by that funding cut. So yes, welcome to the find out phase. We're all here. Have a seat. Grab yourself some ramen. It's the only thing that's cheap anymore. And enjoy.
Donald Trump, I'm very disappointed in ye. You were not the man that I voted for 3 times. I feel betrayed. Why does he keep involving himself in other countries' business? He said that he was going to be a peaceful president. I'm white and lower middle class, but he won't help me. Why is that? I'm confused why I'm being affected. This is not what I voted for. This is not what I voted for. The gas is high. Trump, please stop. Every time I go to the store, it's empty. It's just empty. I lost all my benefits. I lost my job. This is not what I voted for. But I'm still going to stick beside him because he's my president. And I'll do anything for him.
This is what they voted for. They only regret because it's not affecting them. A lot of people were comfortable supporting policies as long as they believe those policies would affect someone else, forgetting that policies don't just target one group. They affect everybody, even the ones who supported them. So let's have a look. Please like, comment, and hype the video, all right? Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of FAFO, where I bring you stories of MAGA voters that have entered the find out phase of their vote. So the New York Times released a piece that's titled Disappointed, Surprised, Betrayed, 12 Trump Voters on What Has Gone Wrong. And in one part of the article, the interviewer asked the voters to use 1 or 2 words to explain how they're feeling about the current administration. Chris, who's a 42-year-old white man from Illinois and is a Republican, said surprised. He says life is becoming more and more unaffordable. The price of things like gasoline and food overall have not come down. I thought it would all just be a lot more affordable. Francesca, who's 26 from the state of Washington, is mixed-raced and says independent, says she feels betrayed. We were made a lot of promises during the election. I know that it's only been a year and a half, but I don't think I've really seen much progress toward even moving toward what he said he was going to do, such as tax breaks or, let's see, helping with the education system. I feel like he just defunded a lot of the education systems, the schools. I don't know why he made so many promises. I believe he actually said he wanted to get rid of the Department of Education on the campaign trail, if I'm not mistaken. And in other parts of the interview, the interviewers asked what they think of him, and Jose, age 62 from Florida, Latino, and votes independent, says, quote, I thought he learned his lesson and was going to prove to everybody he learned from his mistakes. He was going to turn the country around, and he was going to be a stellar president, but it's turned out to be a horror movie. I was so wrong with the vote for him. Nancy, age 55, from the state of Arizona, who's white and votes independent, says, quote, tariffs are really impacting me, especially at work, because I work for a company that has offices abroad. The tariffs are just creating chaos at work between all of our customers, not understanding all the changes that are happening and the rollbacks. And are they going to get a refund? It's just constant chaos.
I was in a conversation last night with a guy who said he regretted his vote for Trump simply because he wasn't getting the benefit out of Trump's policies that he was expecting. That is such an utterly imbecilic and selfish take. I've never even considered just voting out of my own self-interest in spite of whatever it might do to the rest of the country. Even when I was Republican, even when I was a conservative, at my most conservative, I thought genuinely that my conservative views, that the policies that I supported would help the country and would lift everybody up. Now, I can go back now and see how I was wrong, but that was still part of my mindset. So I don't understand how somebody can come through this and think, well, it's not helping me, regardless of anything else. Now, this guy also mentioned, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is, how can you be so selfish and then think so much of yourself? How can you be that self-centered and not consider how other people might be impacted by the things that could do you some good? Because I can promise you, there's a lot of things that could do me personally good, that could make my life easier, that would hurt a whole lot of people. And I don't want those things for this country.
As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man. I
am regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that.
I regret voting for Trump.
So deeply regret my vote for Donald Trump.
I regret voting for Trump.
I was a dumbass, voted for Trump. It was the worst decision I ever made.
If you feel hopeless right now, I'm here to say some Trump supporters are actually regretting their votes. Estimates as high as 1 in 4 people who voted for Trump regret their votes. And on anonymous forums like Reddit, people have poured out their feelings about how much they regret voting for him. People like farmers who have been upset that they're not getting support and money is going to Argentina instead of them. Young voters who feel manipulated by the MAGA movement. And centrists who aren't necessarily committed to a political party have all expressed serious remorse over their vote. The fact that people are admitting that they're not happy with the election and the way things have been with Trump is a serious step in the right direction. As you know, in most cults, people who speak out against the leader are seriously punished. They're ostracized and experience a lot of hostility, which typically prevents them from speaking out in the first place. So although it may feel hopeless and like fascism has been descending upon us for a few years, there actually is a sign of some progress. That's why it's so important to have conversations with these people. If you're a white person and you have family who are Trump supporters, this is a really good time to try to get through to them, especially because a lot of Republicans want the Epstein files to be released, which could be used as a way to find common ground with them and convince them to not be MAGA anymore. Still have a long way to go, but the fact that his approval rating is dropping is a serious sign of good news.
I'm starting to see people who voted for Trump expressing regret being a thing that's making the rounds again. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to approach it from a little bit of a different angle this time. I'm going to extend a little bit of an olive branch. If you voted for him in 2016, I kind of get it. Like, I don't. Everything he stands for is horrible, and that was true even then. But in terms of somebody who was disruptive, was not a mainstay of the political organization, and if you felt like the system as it existed had let you down, being pulled into the orbit of someone who promised to be from outside that system and to shake it up, I do understand the appeal of that. I still think it was an incredibly foolish thing to do, but I can bring myself to understand that from a certain angle. If you voted for him in 2020, I get it a little less, but incumbents tend to have pretty strong support, if for no other reason than People are just dug in for their side. But if you voted for him in 2024, after seeing what happened on January 6th, after listening to everything he said he would do if he got into power again, if you voted for him in 2024, I never want to hear from you. I will not forgive you. I'm not saying nobody ever will. I'm not even saying nobody should. But you need to understand that voting that man back into office, not after only what we saw him do, but what he said he would do in revenge. And you voted for that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I will never forgive you. And you shouldn't expect anybody to.
No sympathy for Trump voters because the warnings were said clearly, repeatedly, and publicly. People spoke about what could happen, and leaders like Kamala Harris pointed out the risk, but they dismissed the warnings. When anger, hate, and revenge leads, it makes people ignore warnings because the message they want to hear feels more satisfying than the truth they need to hear. And that's where we are now. Regret is coming in, but it's coming in too late. Not when families were being separated, not when communities are living in fear, not when others warn about long-term consequences, and now that the effects are personal, they seek sympathy. No, this shows something deeper about human nature. It's easy to ignore pain when it doesn't belong to you. It's easy to justify harsh policies when you believe you'll never be affected by them. But people are starting to see that decisions based on anger, resentment, or identity politics can backfire. So this is an opportunity to rethink how choices are made moving forward. Politics should never be about punishing others. It shouldn't be about us versus them. Because in reality, there's no clear line separating us and them. Society is interconnected. What affects one group today can affect another one tomorrow, and we are seeing that play out in real time. People who once felt secure are now feeling uncertain. People who once supported strict policies are now questioning them. People who once dismissed concerns are now raising the same concern themselves. Voting based on fear, anger, and resentment might feel powerful in the moment, but the choices don't disappear after the election. They turn into policies. They turn into laws. They turn into real-life outcomes that affect job, healthcare, safety, and stability. So people should understand that leadership matters, policies matter, and every vote carries weight, not just for today, but for the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.